Hey everybody, Happy New Year's. Happy Saturday, 2022, first Saturday. It's 12:06. I'm in the kitchen for round two. I'm going to flip this into a second meal. Last night I made Hoppin Johns and I took a taste at midnight and that was it. I used a ham hock and black-eyed peas. And so I have that right here with carrot, celery, onion, the meat from a ham hock, and a little bit of bacon is in there too. So, I freeze the Hoppin John beans, and I take it out and I use just a little at a time because there's a whole lot of fiber in that and protein. And not all fiber is created equal. Like my fiber, but not too much at once. So, I hope everybody had a beautiful New Year's Eve and a safe one. So this Saturday what I'm doing is getting rid of all my odds and ends. And I've got 3 carrots, 2 almost wimpy celery stalks that I freshened back up in there. I'm going to put the flowers in at the end. 3 little tiny potatoes, they were about this big, and a small onion, and a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to put a little bit of paprika, maybe a little too much, but it'll be okay. It'll add to the smokiness of that, which is good. I have a little bit of roasted chicken meat left over, so I'm going to debone that, make a nice chicken and creamy bean soup today. And I have some noodles I'm going to cook up. They might go in. I don't know. So, just going to let everything get soft. I am going to put a little dill in this. What's a strange? It's my new have to have in anything chicken dill. It just is so yummy. It makes everything taste better. I have a little bit of garlic in there, minced, about a clove. And I'm on like medium. For my stove it's medium. Right. And then to this, once this gets a nice little crust on it, I'm going to let it just like flatten it out. I get a crust with it. So I've never done this before, but I'm thinking it's going to be a good idea. I have a little bit of bacon and the ham from the ham hock bone, the black-eyed peas, carrot, celery, onion. So I'm going to put some of it in there, not all of it. And then I'll make it nice and creamy. And I add the chicken broth, which I'm using reduced sodium for everything. And I already put a dash of salt and pepper in there. So much fun making Hoppin Johns last night because I was able to start it on the stove. And I followed Spruce Eats recipe. So good. On my Facebook. Just a pound of black-eyed peas, which I actually soaked for 12 hours, sorted, rinsed, and soaked. You don't have to do it that long, but I'm a soaker. I like to soak beans, lentils, peas, everything, just to make them more digestible. Get all the gassy stuff out of it, right? And then, so I soaked them, and then I put them in the pan here, 1 pound with about 3 to 4 cups of water, so it covered them. Brought them to a boil uncovered, skimmed all the foam off. That's what you don't want, because that's what gives your stomach bloatiness that you don't need. And extra musical noise you don't want. And aromas you don't need. So, but black-eyed peas are really, really good fiber, good protein. So it's a healthy eat. So if you can flip some of those black eyed peas into every meal you make, it goes a long way. You can freeze. So I've already got 3 containers of black eyed peas in my freezer. Alright, so this is nice and caramely and good. It's got taken on a brown look because of the onions are nice. Right? I'm going to go ahead and pour my chicken broth right in there. And this is 2 cups, this can. 1,030 milligrams of sodium. So I'm going to add to that just about here, water. And what I'm going to do is, I know that that's 2 cups of water. And I know that this is 3 cups. I go right to the top. I'm going to do probably 3, 4, 5, 6 cups of cold water. And a little more. I got my other cup. And that's perfect. And I have my chicken in the refrigerator, which I'm going to start pulling some meat off of. I'm going to let this come to a boil on high. I might add a no sodium chicken packet to the mix here. I might add a no sodium chicken broth to it if it doesn't seem chickeny enough. But I'm going to throw some of my carcass bones in there any minute. Let them do the work. Plus, I really got a lot of bone and smokiness going on here. So these are going in right now. I don't know how much I'm going to put in there yet. But I'm thinking that looks good. Yeah, it's all going in. Let me be real about it. It's all going in. Just toss it in there. I know it looks strange, but trust me. You got your beans in there. You got your potato. Got your smoked ham with your chicken. It's just going to be nice. How to play with your food. So I'm back on a roll again. I was talking to my dad last night. Called to say Happy New Year. I said I got my mojo back. I was so sick, you guys. December. I'd say probably most of November and December. I was just a hot mess. Everything I bought to bake, I didn't do, so I'm doing that now. I'm baking. Got all my candy things I made. I made up some candy. There are a lot of great channels out there on YouTube that I really just loved. Pastor Farmer's Wife, Leslie, I think I made every candy that you posted. Thank you. I bought the peppermint, the crushed peppermints so that I can make the pretzel peppermint clusters. Yeah, this could be nice and thick with the potato. It's going to be just nice with a little chicken in there. And then you could cook up some rice on the side, pour it over the rice, or you could cook up some noodles. I don't know yet. During the week I might do both. So I found some great recipes for candy, and instead of doing all the baking I was planning on doing, I tried to use up my butter and stuff and my odds and ends, the things you never buy. I tried to use up by making a lot of candy. So I had bought walnuts, I had bought Heath Bits, toffee Heath Bits, I had bought peppermint, I had bought dates, I had bought raisins, I had bought pretzels, and I had all this stuff, and I don't know what the heck to do with it because I got sick. So I slowly but surely every day made another candy. I made Brickle, Your Way, Leslie, at Pastor Farmer's Farmer Pastor's Wife channel. I made Hillbilly Kitchen, and I am thinking of you this year with the loss of your beautiful husband. I am thinking of you and sending prayers to you. I made the serviceman's candy that you posted, and believe me, the USP and mail people, they loved it. That's all they've talked about. It's a 100. Go to Hillbilly Kitchen. Service days or serviceman's candy, and she posted on Veterans Day. He posted on Veterans Day, and just delicious. 100-year-old recipe that not many people know about. Took a little time, but it was just a really nice one that everybody was like, oh my gosh, that's so good. What is that? Really nice. And then I made a brickle combination. I did saltine crackers with less sodium and butter and brown sugar over the top, and then I used Heath bits. You can put anything you want on top of what people call crack candy. So I used white chocolate for my peppermint here. I used Heath bits for my brickle. I used M&Ms for some of my candy, and then I ended up making the monster cookies that I used to make these cookies years ago, but they were called Cowboy Cookies, and they came out awesome. I ended up with 55 cookies. I used Ray Drummond Pioneer Woman's recipe, but instead of putting pecans in, I put walnuts in because I made nut clusters with chocolate, and so I used half of my semi-sweet chocolate there. I used my old-fashioned oats. I got rid of some of my Heath bits, and I even put some peppermint crush in those cookies. Finally made those yesterday while I was waiting for my Hoppin Johns to get done. Hoppin Johns got done. I started it here, made my beans, put my ham hock in here with my celery, carrot, onion, garlic, 3 cups of water, put it on high for 1 hour. Then after my beans simmered for 15 minutes, I drained them, rinsed them again, put the beans in here, put it on low for 8 hours. It was done right at midnight, so I was able to have, what did I use to make, where is it? Ah, here it is. I ended up using this because I was beat by then. I used Honey Jiffy corn mix to make a little tiny cake, which is going to go with this later, because you're supposed to serve it with a little cornbread and a little, I had a little bit of collard greens that I made, and actually I might throw the collard greens in here. I don't know. Might flip it. Might flip my collard greens into there too. We'll see. So I have a little bit of collard green left. So you can use spinach or whatever, but I mean, you just set it and forget it, literally. And that got done right as the ball was dropping, and I took my ham hocks out and got the meat off of them. Oh yeah, I rinsed those ham hocks and wrapped them really good and put them back in the freezer, nice and dry. They'll be fine. Use again. I'm not ready to say goodbye to my tree, you guys. I'm not. I just got it up Monday before Christmas. It was gifted to me from my children. It arrived on Monday. Thank you again so much. So I had a little tree. I took that down. I scooched it over here, took it down, put this one up, and I'm just not ready yet to do that. And Dustin loves the tree, right? And we said Happy New Year last night. And so I called my dad, and I said Happy New Year to all the people that I could get to that weren't working or whatever. And I actually waited up to get the ball to drop, to see it go drop, even though I yelled at the mayor. I did. I was like, I sounded like Andy. If anybody watched the CNN ball drop with Andy and Anderson Cooper, Andy was yelling and screaming about de Blasio. So was I. I mean, it's not a personal thing. It's just like, I just don't think everybody should be getting together. It just seems backward to me to have everybody blowing in whistles behind banisters and guardrails, singing and yelling. They weren't really socially distanced. And at midnight, when the Hoppin Johns were ready, my neighbor was downstairs from me. She's one level down, whatever. She's kind of on her own. And I'm going on year 22 here, and she's been here for a while. And the whole house smelled like Hoppin Johns. And she knocked on my door and said, "Oh my goodness, it really smells like New Year's Eve. I'm loving it." She said, "Are you making Hoppin Johns?" Now, she's from the South. I said, "Yeah, I am." She said, "Oh my gosh, yeah. My grandmother had a pressure cooker. We made it all the time." She said, "That just smells so good." I said, "Well, if you're going to be up at midnight, I'll bring you down." Sure enough, she was waiting for it. And she was so happy. I brought her down a little cornbread and just a little bowl of beans. You're not going to eat a bunch of beans that late at night, but I don't know. Maybe she ate the beans. I don't know. I took a little taste, as tradition goes. If you take a taste and leave 3 beans in your plate, you're going to have a good year. The cornbread is for all things golden. The beans are actually for everything moving smoothly through the year because it's good fiber, it's good digestion and health. The green, which you could do spinach, kale, mustard greens, dandelion, you could do anything you want, but mostly collard greens, is for prosperity. And then the 3 beans, if you eat it and you leave at least 3 beans behind, it's supposed to represent, in some circles, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit being with you for the whole year. So, I deliberately left 3 beans behind. And then I stayed up and I watched the whole show. Then I watched the rerun. And then this morning I brought all my neighbors a little bit of cookies. And that's it. I mean, everything I didn't get to do at Christmas I'm doing now, but I'm pasting. So one of the things I want to talk about in my New Year video is a motto I live by. I've always lived by. I'd say from the age of 10. Because I had a very large surgery at 10 that really put me out. I had my thymus gland removed. It was really hard to get back to breathing right, moving right. Because back in the day, they would cut you open. It was like open heart surgery. It was really hard to get. I was really weak. And both my grandmothers would make me liver and bacon and spinach and all that stuff. But it was still very hard to get going again. And one of the things I kind of just knew as a child was I needed to pray a lot because when you're in an intensive care and you're alone, even though your parents can come in on the odd hour or whatever, you're still alone. For like 15 minutes, 2 people can come in. You have to learn to go to a higher power to soothe yourself and get through pain and all the weirdness of medical procedures, right? So by 10, I really knew how to talk to myself and say, it's going to be okay, and talk to God. And I knew there was God, so I talked to God. And pace, but keep going. So I'd try a little more. They would bring in like breathing machines, cop into them, make the balls jump around, do all these things, right? Oh, I would hate having to cough. I would hate having to sit up and cough. Anybody that's had surgery, you know what I'm talking about. That went on for quite a while. And having to take a deep breath. And I became a shallow breather for many reasons, which I've shared in other videos. What I learned is when you're a shallow breather, you're not getting all the energy you need. And so deep breathing is important. And with illness that tends to flare up, any illness, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, lupus, whatever. Excuse me? What? Are you letting me know? Did you go to the bathroom? Did you finally poop? Please say you pooped. I chased you around with the lactulose yesterday. Did you go, honey? Did you go? Good boy. Did you? I'm going to check. Yeah, he likes to let me know. He's been having issues. Lots of issues. Right? But I learned to not stay down too long. Several times in my life, I had to always go to bed. And I was suddenly just out of my routine. And my routine was, the minute I open my eyes, make my bed or change my sheets and wash them, take a shower, get dressed, brush teeth, make a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, get going. Keep going until you do it all over again. And my kids would joke about this, but it really wasn't very funny. Some of my friends would joke about it. I just never sat down. I never did. If I was entertaining, I was just not able to sit and relax with people. I was always trying to make everything okay. Running, going, doing. And when I got sick and I was told, you must stay down in bed, I couldn't get back up again. And I think that happens to a lot of people in the pandemic. I think it's happened to a lot of us where we've been told, okay, stay home, don't go out. And we've gotten into, well, okay, I don't have to brush my teeth. Nobody's going to see me today. I guess if my mouth tastes really bad, I'll go brush my teeth eventually. I think I'll stay in my pajamas. Maybe just get dressed on the top because I'm going to do a Zoom appointment. I mean, all kinds of crazy. I've heard all kinds of things like, well, I didn't brush my teeth because I'm wearing a mask. Well, I didn't. People have said all kinds of crazy. Like, it doesn't matter if I wash my face because I'm going to have a mask on. Or just, I'm home, so I'm just going to loungewear, and I'm guilty of it, loungewear. But we're like goldfish. We can grow into the bowl we're in. So if we wear stretch pants and loungewear, believe me, we will grow into it. That's what I learned because I did. So I'm trying to make my life as normal as possible with put your jeans on, girl. Put your jeans on and stand up. Don't sit so much. Stand up. Move around. Keep your daily vacuuming, dusting. Because if you're inside, believe me, you need to keep the dust free and the air clean, ventilating. And with the furnace and everything, people are not sure if they're getting sinuses infections or COVID. But a lot of people just have that cruddy winter muck in their sinuses, right? So I've come to the conclusion at the grand old age of 62 that you don't wake up feeling good and you have to push. But for me, I have to pray, pace, and persist. And I've learned how important routine is. And that every time I've gotten sick, this last time I got sick, excuse me, it really knocked me out. And people are telling me, well, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do Christmas. Don't worry about it. Go rest, right? Nobody's doing it. Don't worry about it. But the more I stayed down, the worse I felt. But when I would get up, I would do too much. So you got to pace. So my goal this year is to remember to pray, pace, and persist. And if I have to go lay down, if I have to stay in my loungewear for the day, if I have to knock around the house and do a craft, or scroll, or maybe write some poetry, or do bills or just do busy work, organize a drawer, a closet, or whatever, that I won't then feel like crawling back up. And, you know, so many of us Netflixed out. We did. We got into our movie marathon. I personally got into The Crown, The Queen's Gambit. I mean, I was just watching all these things that I've never watched before. And sitting too much. That's not good for your posture. Not good. So my big lesson, I'm not making any diet resolutions. I'm not making any huge diet resolutions other than to get back to praying, pacing, and persisting. And that can be very hard for people that have chronic illnesses or are resolving from COVID, because you know you have days where you're feeling down, or maybe you have long COVID, and so there's just days you gotta rest, and then you're like running around trying to do everything at once. Don't. Space it out. Make a schedule. Routine. Make a schedule. And as my grandma, Rose, used to say, my mom's mom, if your floors are clean, if your underwear is clean, your floors are clean, your bathroom's clean, you're clean. Yeah, that was her kind of motto. Whereas my dad, I think his side of the family was more, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. Like always. Like don't sit, go clean, go do something. No, it's okay to let your bed be unmade. Just don't get back in it. But I will say the most important thing we can do, I think, that I found in my life is to get up and make my friggin' bed in the morning. It just feels better. And get dressed in something fresh, right? Keep up with laundry, dust, vacuum, clear out, get rid of things you haven't used that are just taking up closet space. I've been doing a lot of clearing out lately. Every time I clear out, I get more stuff. I'm like, well, it just shows up. Like the trouble with tribbles. Clutter will show up. For me, it's magazine clutter. I end up with magazines and books all the time. Books. Knickknacks, books. Little things where I put it, or clothes that are big that don't fit, and wear, cozy big clothes that don't fit anywhere. So I'm simplifying, and that is the only goal I have this year. And that includes, I've always been somebody that tapers away from things. That includes opiates. I tapered down from those in 2009, right before the big epidemic was and everybody didn't get their medicine. I knew that was happening. I was like, I don't like the way this fentanyl and Dilaudid and Darvocet and all this stuff is making me feel. I begged my doctor, please give me a tapering off schedule. And in 2009, I stepped down in one weekend over medicines I had been on for almost 20 years. And I didn't need a rehab. I didn't need to go to some Malibu, whatever, and talk about all my problems. I just stayed home and prayed. And I was fine. I would tell you, if you're using alcohol, don't do that. If you're using benzos, don't do that. Or you can, but have a doctor follow you, because then you have to worry about seizures. And that was a real problem. I could have had them, but that didn't happen. So I went down from like 8 benzos a day to 2. So, and I kind of tapered down fast. And the fentanyl patches, I mean, really, I just started ripping them off. Do I still have the pain in my body? Yeah, I do. But I have a whole lot less pain than I had when I was on the pain medicine, because the pain medicine just heightens your pain. It makes you chase it like you're on a wheel, on a little clock that says, okay, it's time to take your medicine again. And oh, I'm going to show you some paint so you can remember to take it. Now I'm like, I'll barely take a Tylenol. I wait until I have a big old fever or something and all my limbs are aching, or a big old sinus infection, or a big old bladder or kidney infection, and then I might take one Tylenol. Lasts more with medicine. When it came to smoking, same thing. I was never really a heavy smoker, but for a few years. And when I lived with my husband, we smoked a lot because everywhere you went, his whole family smoked. And when I went through my divorce, I smoked a lot. And then again, when I went through some emotional issues, I smoked a lot when I was first alone. But then I really wasn't a smoker. I didn't really enjoy it. So it was very easy for me to taper down to one a day or none a day and outside only. And then I realized when I was doing that, I could taper down from coffee. So I was drinking like 12 cups of coffee or making a 12 pot and pouring it in a big cup. But I started just drinking 1 cup of coffee a day and drinking more water. And now I don't smoke at all. Don't buy them. I barely have a drop of coffee. And, it's rare. So as one habit goes, the next one, like a domino, will fall. Other one that was really funny for me with diet, and I remember telling an aunt this, I used to put Parmesan cheese on everything. Like, I mean everything. If I made a salad, Pecorino Parmesan cheese went on it. If I made soup, Pecorino Parmesan cheese. Anything. A lot. It was so. Look at your grocery list. The one thing that you're buying all the time is probably the one thing you don't need. When I stopped buying Parmesan cheese and only bought it for special occasions, if I was going to entertain or have something that called for it in the recipe, I stopped eating it. I stopped needing it or wanting it. So I don't make resolutions now. I just step away from things. I just taper away. And for the smoking thing, really, I would get like feelings of anxiety and like I wanted to go smoke a cigarette. But instead, I just knit and crochet. So, I mean, that's all I can say. Or I wrote. Sometimes I write too much on Facebook. I'm not going to do any crazy Daniel fast or 40-day fast or 30-day fast or collective fast with a church because I fast normally all the time. I do 30-day fast, 40-day fast, 21-day fast, 3-day fast, 7-day fast. I've been doing them for my whole life, and I've always been an intermittent type of a faster. So it's not really a sacrifice, but getting off social media would be a sacrifice. So I think I'm going to lower my time on. You might not see me out on Facebook that much. I might come along and like your stuff or heart your stuff or say hi. But maybe not post so much. Might be watching a lot more videos, get a lot more done. That's about it. I'm going to really try to remember to take my vitamin D every day. And my vitamin B and my zinc, my supplement. Get my probiotics in me. Because it is gloomy, folks. We have had gloom and doom and rainy. So I've decided to call this the Angel in Waiting. I'm going to put her together today. There's her little halo. And she's not starched enough to stand on her own because I used a heavier yarn that was called for. But she will make a beautiful angel over a little decorative bottle, like just a regular oil bottle or whatever. I'm going to glue gun that on. And she's done. The pattern you can get at Patterns or Product Etsy store or free tutorials at Crochet Around the World with Irina. Crochet Around the World in English. She has Spanish, Russian, and English. Beautiful tutorials for several of her angels. The rest of them she makes and sells for about anywhere from 30 to 50, and she packages them beautifully. So some of them you can buy a pattern for, or you could just buy already made, or watch her tutorial and make a few of them. Lots of fun. I'm working on another one for Valentine's Day. And they'll just be gifts. So you can see I have a little bit of my bacon there. I have a little bit of my ham hock in there. I'm getting ready to add some of my dark and some of my white meat of my chicken. And just let it sit. That's what I'm making today. I might. I have a little bit of noodles. But I'm feeling like this would go better over rice. So I think I'm going to make a yellow rice. Maybe just a white plain rice. I don't know. But I'm feeling like rice is needed because of the beans. So, a little carb on carb with the potato in there, but it'll be fine. And now it's 12:42. So that's what I'm doing. So all I can say about the new year that I'm going to try to do more of is pray, pace, and persist. And what I've always done is phase out of things. Taper away from habits that aren't serving me, lifestyles that isn't serving me, people. I'm phasing people out of my life that I just don't want in my life anymore. And it's not a vindictive or resentful or any kind of thing like that. I've just realized I am worth more than their behavior. I don't deserve the behavior that some people are dishing out. And why I keep reaching out and keep trying is silly. So time to move on. And just pace out. Give everyone their space. And the other thing that I'm doing is if I know somebody is outright lying to me this year, I'm calling it. I'm just saying, hey, now you can talk to the hand. Because if you don't feel like you can tell me, if somebody doesn't feel like they can tell me how it really is, then they don't trust my ability to love them as they are and to have a disagreement. My very best friend, who has been a godsend to me, and the only person in my life in the last 3 years who has been here. We have had many moments where I have worried that I've burdened her, or I've worried that she's pissed at me when really something's going on totally that has nothing to do with me. She's thinking about something else, and I'm like thinking, oh gosh, I'm being a burden. Or just the looks we give each other that we read into. Don't read into. Ask. Come right out and ask. Just don't presume. Don't assume. My mom used to say, and after she was in the hospital, a doctor had told her this. I love my little partridge in a pear tree. So does Dustin, you guys. There, my daughter. These little birdies. He'll climb all the way up here to get that little birdie because it's got a feather on it, see? And he loves the glitter bulbs. And the proof is on his tongue every night. Licking the glitter. Glitter boy. Anyways, we sometimes project a lot. We sometimes presume. We see the most awful in ourselves and we think everyone else sees it. And it's not. And my mother used to say the most stressful thing you could do is be in limbo. And she learned this from a doctor. After she got out of a hospital, she was going to see a social worker years ago and just talking about feeling in flux. And the doctor told her, no is no, yes is yes, everything in between is a mess and makes stress and will roll around in your head. It's no good and will affect your body and everyone else around you. So let your yes be yes, let your no be no, and don't go back and forth. And I think that's a really good godly advice that we get from the Bible too. And this year I'm going to be about launching my stuff, doing my thing. I'm not going to be so out there to be representing other people or, promoting their websites, their stuff, whatever. People that I feel really great about, I will. But I think there comes a time you gotta concentrate on yourself. And I have books to write that are in me, and they're going to get written this year. They really are. They're going to get started. I have revised Talking Houses about a bajillion times. You guys have heard about it forever. I almost thought of coming out and reading installments of it on YouTube, on my channel. And right here. Instead of doing the vignettes and the poetry and all that, just read it to you guys. And I've often thought too that we get hung up on being published. But every time we write something on Facebook, every time we write something on Twitter, every time we write something on whatever, Instagram, we are publishing. So we are writing our lives. We are writing our lives. And we are walking testimonies. And our actions are telling our lives. So I don't feel the need to be a published author or have that title and have the book in binding anymore. I'm just going to write it and read it. And that's it. And then it's published, right? Write it and read it, whatever I'm feeling about. I'm doing it right now just by making a video. We are all authors. We're all creative human beings from God who created everything, right? I mean, if we're created in God's image, then we are creators. And we wrote our own stories, and we're rewriting them here on earth, and we're living them out, and we're revising them, and we're, people come into our story, and you can figure out how'd you get here. I didn't write that scene. But, that's life. We learn. Ooh, more to skim. This is probably my favorite thing to do with soup, is to skim. Once I get the chicken in there, I'm going to skim more. I don't like any of that foam. It's the most relaxing thing to do. I could just zen away skimming anything. Sauce, soup, gravy. Nice. So what I'm going to do is add more water and just add my chicken. Once my potatoes are fork tender, I'll cook up some rice and put this right over it. And that's it. I got my little chicken right here. I've been picking at it about 3 days now. A little lemon pepper chicken. I'm going to get some white meat off of there. Pop it in there. Put a little more water in there. Bring it to a boil one more time. Make my rice. And that's it. I'm done. I got more stuff to put in the freezer then. I can put some of that into my little bean thing. Done. I'm going to go make another angel. So I wish everybody a really wonderful new year. Really having fun with the numbers. 2022. It's so much easier to say. Oh, I love the smell of that dill in there. Just add something. Nice. All right, and it does have kind of like a green, I don't know if it's just looking that way on my camera or what. That's how it really looks. No matter when I get near. It's got a green tint to it. But they're not split peas. They're there. Black-eyed peas. So on to the next round. This becomes chicken bacon with a little ham hock and potato, carrot, celery, onion, and dill. That's it. That's all I got to say. Have a very happy New Year. Stay healthy. Pray, pace, and persist. Pray, pace, and persist. Take care, everybody. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.